Let's revisit the two country, one good model one more time. Here we're looking for the market for tape dispensers. I'm trying to recreate one of your homework assignments here. So we have home, which is a small country. Again, that assumption will be addressed when we get to large country analysis in week 4, I think it is. And the international market and the row market. We have an autarky price of $7 at home. We have an autarky price of $3 in row. That gives us our basis for trade. Somebody's going to figure that out and engage in arbitrage, bring in units over. How many units will they bring over? Well, if we use 3 for our stepping off point, we can get our upward sloping supply for imports and downward sloping demand for imports using 7 as our stepping off point to come up with that intersection or point of equilibrium in the international market, and we learned that 4 units would be brought over. So that's that distance. And if you did everything right and you drew all this to scale, and I know that's a lot to ask, then that 4 units is that 4 units is also that 4 units. So I got pretty close there. And I added some numbers that we'll need here. So the 4 is between 3 and 7. Given free trade, we'll see a price, which is PW, settle in at $5, and 4 units will be brought from the row market into the home market. So 3 would be produced by domestic producers, 4 would be produced by row producers, and home consumers would buy 7 total. 4 from them and 3 from their own producers. So obviously home producers are going to be upset by this. They lose a lot of producer surplus out of this. They used to get this whole triangle, everything below autarky price and above the supply curve. Now they just get that little triangle right there. So they've lost all of this. But home consumers have picked up this triangle, so societally home's better off, but row producers are upset and they're going to argue for a tariff or some kind of protection. Let's say they get it. I'm going to call it PT, and let's put $6 in there. At $6, let's draw a line that goes at least as far as the international market. I'm going to call that PT again. And then now we can do our social welfare. So from here we see that consumers, after the tariff is implemented, well, they get all that, and they also get that piece right there. Okay, so they're better than they were in free trade in autarky, but they're worse than they were in free trade. Producers, well, producers get that piece, which is what they got in free trade, but now because of the tariff they also pick up that piece, so they're a little better off. And then what winds up happening? Well, we bring only 2 units over, right? That's where we hit the demand curve. We bring only 2 units over, and the tariff is $1, so the home government picks up that piece. That's 2 units wide, $1 tall, that's worth $2. And then we get these 2 triangles right here, and these, I'll color them in solid, are deadweight loss. Okay, that's our social welfare. The purpose of this module or this video is to show you that we can see all of these pieces in the international market. So let's find all these. And in some cases you'll be asked to shade producer surplus, consumer surplus, deadweight loss, etc. Everywhere you can find it on a graph. So let's do that. Let's start with the tariff. We know it's $2 total. It's 2 units wide, $1 tall. Where is that on here? Well, that's this area right here. $2 wide, 2 units wide, $1 tall. So that's worth $2. Here's the new consumer surplus. That's everything above the prevailing price and below the demand curve. Where do we find that? That's everything above the prevailing price and below the demand for imports. So it may not look like it, but if you did mathematically, you did the area of that red triangle, you're going to find out that it equals the area of this red triangle here. Those are going to be mathematically the same area. And then we got that deadweight loss piece. Where's that coming from? Well, on the homework, each one of these is worth $1, and they sum, so that's $2. They sum, they split this in half. So if you take the area of that whole triangle, you're going to find that's deadweight loss. Those were units that would have been brought from here over here, but now they no longer are because the tariff has prevented them from coming over. And that is protectionism. So if you're asked to shade consumer surplus, producer surplus, tariffs, tariff revenue, everywhere you can find it, be sure that you also include the international market.